playoff push, where that Steelers-Ravens showdown now leaves our Browns in the race for the postseason. A win is a win. 5 reasons why all Browns fans should cherish this moment with a winning team. The aftermath, from power outages to fallen trees. A bird's eye view as Northeast Ohio digs out of the snow. Multi-state manhunt. The intense moments as federal agents rescue an Akron school nurse kidnapped right before Thanksgiving, hundreds of miles away. Hope on the horizon. The first COVID vaccine to win approval. And rocking around the Christmas tree. The local man who gives the Rockefeller Center tree its voice online.
From the WKYC studios, this is Front Row.
And good evening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the Steelers and the Ravens. I know the Browns did. Keep those Ravens losing. Now 2 games behind the Browns. Welcome in. This is a special edition of Front Row. Let me set the table for you. I'm Jim Donovan. Happy to have Laura Queso alongside. She's in for Sarah. And lo and behold, we've filled every chair in the front row. Look who joins us, Russ Mitchell. Good to have you along, Russ.
Jimmy, thank you so much. I was sitting here at the desk waiting for that Christmas tree light ceremony to come on. The studio lights came on. I said, hey, that must be an invitation. It's a pleasure to be with you both.
And Jim and Russ, I want to say good to be here with both of you. Of course, we have a loaded show tonight, starting with a pretty busy day, Jim, in Berea.
Absolutely. First things first, another COVID incident out in Berea today. A Brown staffer, not a player, it was informed he tested positive for coronavirus. The facility was closed for a period of time, and they checked the tracing, and they went to practice this afternoon. All right, now to a big week for the Browns as they get set for their biggest game in a long, long time. I mean, a long time. Sunday in Nashville, they'll take on the 8-3 Tennessee Titans, who lead their division. The Browns are also 8-3, and for the first time in many, many years, the Browns are in a playoff position early in the month of December. Now the question is, can they hang on to it?
This is the stretch of the season where every game counts, every play counts. You have to make these moments count. So these are the things that we've been trying to build up to, and we're here now. So we're in the middle of it, so let's seize the moment.
Here's a look at the AFC playoff picture, especially right after what just happened at Heinz Field. The Steelers are untouchable. They're at 11-0. The Browns sitting in the number 5 spot. Remember, 7 teams make it. And so Sunday's game in Tennessee, if the Browns could win that, boy, I tell you what, that would be a major step and a half along the way to get them to the promised land, the playoffs. Now, after the Browns take on the Titans this Sunday afternoon, it will then be on to the Baltimore Ravens in 2 weeks on Monday Night Football. And the Browns could really knock the Ravens out of the playoff picture if they could win that one. Channel 3, WKYC is your primetime home of the Browns. That game at 8:15 will be seen right here on Channel 3. We'll get you set with your pregame huddle. That will begin at 7 o'clock. Now to the news of the day. We begin tonight with a problem many of you are still dealing with, and that's the aftermath of yesterday's winter storm. More than 19,000 people in Geauga, Cuyahoga, and Ashtabula counties still don't have electricity tonight. So schools and businesses were once again forced to close today, Laura.
That's right. Brandon Simmons takes us to some of the hardest hit spots and tells us when the lights could come back on.
I mean, we heard we had a storm coming. We didn't expect it this, I think, thick and heavy.
Many are still cleaning up after a winter blast blanketed the region. The heavy snow weighing down and snapping tree limbs, bringing down power lines too.
Yesterday morning, we lost power at about 9:30. And I got, 2 teen girls. My husband's working from home.
Crews worked throughout the day to get it restored. These entangled power lines on Wilson Mills Road show what they're up against.
So at home we have no power, and we haven't had power for about a day and a half now.
And it's not just homes, it's businesses too. Heather Means manages the Discovery Shop in Chardon, where the power has been spotty. Businesses like hers forced to close because furnaces aren't running.
With everything that's going on with our current pandemic, being closed a couple extra days certainly hurts, especially if you're a small business.
First Energy has workers in the area hoping to restore power for most this evening. But for many, it'll be another long night, as power may not come back on until tomorrow evening, forcing some to choose hotels instead.
It just got colder and colder, and we just, I went to bed early with just piles and piles of blankets. But then we got up, and it was just brutally cold in the house. And so we can't, there's no way.
So it really makes you grateful for what you have.
In Geauga County, I'm Brandon Simmons, 3 News.
Developing tonight, an Akron Public Schools nurse who had been missing since Thanksgiving was found alive today in Louisiana. But that came after a shootout between FBI agents and the man investigators say took her. Romney Smith helps us unravel this story.
Tonight, an Akron Public School nurse named Nicole Bronowski is safe after Cuyahoga Falls police received word from a family member that she was missing under suspicious circumstances.
And then we had been contacted by Belmont County that her mother had been killed. So we knew right away it was important to find this person.
Cuyahoga Falls police teamed up with police in Louisiana and the FBI to find Bronowski.
Law enforcement was able to determine the fleeing suspect's location, who was traveling with the abducted victim. They were finally put down and located to a hotel in Pineville, Louisiana.
Investigators say Bronowski's ex, a man named James Hawley, was killed during a shootout with FBI agents at a hotel as they served an arrest warrant for Bronowski's kidnapping in Ohio and him killing her mother on Thanksgiving Day in Louisiana.
As with any investigation, we are very much interested in learning the why behind the violent acts and any ideologies of the person involved.
An FBI agent was injured during the shootout but is recovering right now.
The investigations remain open to ensure there are no other individuals involved with these horrific times, but we do believe that there is no immediate threat to the community right now from what we've seen.
We are still waiting to hear if Bronowski is in Louisiana or making her way back to Ohio at this time. I can only imagine that this has to be one of the most traumatic events of her life, Russ, but at the end of the day, we're just thankful she was found alive.
Yes, good news there. Romney Smith, thank you. Strike averted. Today, the Cleveland Heights University Heights School District reached a tentative deal with its teachers union. The teachers had been pushing back against changes to their health care and retirement benefits. Specific details of the deal have not been made public as of yet. The union's rank and file still has to ratify, then the school board will have to sign off. Now to the latest on the coronavirus and the backlog of COVID-19 cases at the state level. Today, there were 7,835 new cases reported in Ohio. The state says it still has thousands of reports that still need to be reviewed. 123 patients have died in the past 24 hours.
Developing now, 13 states are now on Ohio's travel advisory list. The states include those with positivity rates above 15%, and Ohio's now on that list as of today. The advisory list is down from 16 states last week. Anyone coming into Ohio from those states is advised to self-quarantine for 14 days. New CDC guidelines tonight when it comes to quarantining after potential COVID-19 exposure. 14 days is still best, but 10 days is okay if the patient does not have any symptoms, or 7 days with no symptoms and a negative test. This today as the Pfizer vaccine gains approval for emergency use in the UK. Here's senior health correspondent Monica Robbins.
It's the news it seems the world has been waiting for. UK citizens will be the first to get the 95% effective Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine.
It's a historic day. I have to admit, I feel that it is a historic day. It's indeed the beginning of the end of the pandemic.
British health officials gave the vaccine emergency use authorization, similar to what's expected here next week. But not everyone is excited to get it. Polling suggests 58% of Americans are likely to get vaccinated, but 42% say they won't. Experts say at least 70% need the vaccine to achieve community immunity. But this virus and the remedies it quickly created cause many to question confidence in the safety.
Because those strict tests have been done and complied with, and everyone can be absolutely confident that no corners whatsoever have been cut.
But the word of scientists isn't enough, so Britain, in a public message push called the Vaccine Confidence Project, aims to combat the influence of anti-vaccine groups, especially prevalent and unregulated on social media.
There's been a lot of attention to fast, warp speed, but the reality is they're faster because we have new technologies.
Not only that, governments have poured billions of dollars into pharmaceutical companies to get these vaccines out out of the labs and into people. It's an unprecedented global effort that helps speed up a process that typically takes years.
2020 has been just awful, and 2021 is going to be better, and help is on its way.
Monica Robbins, 3 News.
Plenty more to come on this special edition of Front Row. We want you to enjoy the ride. Why our front row to this great Browns season is nothing to take for granted.
And later, the ways you can help your little ones avoid the new holiday blues as the pandemic changes traditions.
Also, Betsy, are we out of the woods from all of that snow?
The melt is the next big thing as far as the forecast goes. We have clear skies tonight. That's going to lead to a very cold start tomorrow morning. Matt Wintz will have the latest on that. We'll take a look ahead to the weekend forecast, too, straight ahead.
Front Row is sponsored by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
Download the Hooley House app and you'll have Hooley House right in the palm of your hand. 4 great locations to choose from: Brooklyn, Mentor, Westlake, and Montrose. 3 great ways to get your food: dine in, carry out, or home delivery. 2 great menus, food and drink. And 1 great app that makes it safer and easier to enjoy your Hooley House than ever before. At Hooley House, we have one goal: to make sure you can safely enjoy our fabulous menu every day. So come on in or go online to thehooley.com.
Here's a look right now at the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree with the lighting festivities now less than an hour away. You'll see it all here on 3. But first, let's send it over to Jay Crawford and Mike Polk.
All right, Jimmy, thank you very much. Can you feel it in the air? We're in the month of December, and our Cleveland Browns only have 3 losses, and usually by this point we're lucky if we have 3 wins. But Mike Polk, 8-3, feels a whole lot better than 3-8.
It feels a heck of a lot better, and I, for one, am celebrating. It does seem like the fan base is having a hard time processing this, some of them at least, and that's why I thought it might be helpful if I were to give them a little bit of advice. Take a look.
Hey folks, you know, I'm hearing a lot of negative Nellies out there, clucking about how the Browns aren't actually as good as their 8-3 record suggests, but that they're merely benefiting from an easy schedule and racking up cheap wins against inferior opponents. Well, here's what I have to say to you people. There's definitely a lot of truth in that. We are barely winning games against dumpster dweller teams, and most of the time we do not look good doing it. But here's the thing about that. I don't care about that. You know what I care about? The Browns are 8-3. Who are we Browns fans to suddenly become picky about how we win football games? Did some of you just get here? I wouldn't care if one of those wins were against Appalachian State. Rack it up. Look, as I said, could this team be better? Yes. Is the roster perfect? Send a no. But guys, while you're out here griping about how we're a mediocre team barely beating terrible teams, do I really need to remind you that we just spent the last 20 years being the terrible team that was barely being beaten by mediocre teams? And I gotta tell you, having now tasted both sides of the action, I strongly prefer this situation. I think what we need here is just a little perspective to remind us where we came from so we can appreciate where we are. So, here are 5 reasons the Browns fan should cherish this moment. Number 1, with 8 wins, we cannot have a losing season this year. This will be the first time since 2007, which is very sad. Number 2, we've won 8 games so far this year. Between 2015 and 2017, we won 4 games total. That's improvement. Number 3, if the season ended right now, we'd be in the playoffs, which would be quite novel. Fun fact, we have never played a playoff game in our stadium. Number 4, next time you feel disappointed in a Browns win, remember we once lost a game because a guy threw his helmet in the air. And number 5, next time you feel disappointed in our quarterback, remember we once had a quarterback get trapped under a really big flag. Not great. You know what I really think our problem is? This is all so new to us. We're like rookies at winning. We have no experience in supporting a good football team, and we're still learning how to do it. Here's hoping we get some more practice. And remember, next time you're fretting about how the Browns just barely beat Jacksonville last week, even though Jacksonville's terrible, just remind yourself of this. The Browns are 8-3.
Yes, they are. Now, let me be honest with you, Mike. I'm one of those guys. I think this is fool's gold, but after watching your piece, heck, I don't care.
I'll take fool's gold at this point,
Yes.
Jay. Who are we to turn down fool's gold? It's shinier than the rocks we usually have, and remember, the Browns are 8-3.
Yes, they are, and boy, is that sweet. Mike, thank you. Jimmy, back to you.
All right, thank you both. Now I'm really excited about being 8-3. Time for the weather right now. And Betsy and Matt Wintz join us right now. And what do you think? I thought that Mike Polk looked nice in my orange vest and orange bow tie.
I wondered where he got that, Jimmy. I thought, man, Mike Polk going on the one-up. I was kind of surprised there, certainly. We just got to get Jay on board with that, but we'll deal with that next time. You know, it may be like sweater weather today, but boy, coats going to be needed tomorrow morning. You couldn't help but smile with the sunshine, but sometimes, Matt, that's not always the best news.
Yeah, Betsy, you're absolutely right, because obviously that sun went to work on area roofs and all the trees today, and we had all that fall to the ground, and we did have some melting going on. And with the cold temperatures tonight, we may have some problems tomorrow morning in terms of black ice. So let's dive into it. The big picture view right now, we've got that storm system that produced all the snow. Now up in New England, we've got clear skies overhead. That combined with high pressure and winds that are starting to ease equals maximum radiational cooling. What does that mean? It's going to get cold tonight across northeast Ohio, especially the further inland you get. In fact, tomorrow morning, these are your expected lows. We're going to be in the low to mid 20s area wide. May even see some upper teens, especially where that snowpack is. And keep in mind, those deck surfaces, porches, anything that's untreated will be slippery tomorrow morning. But we've got a little bit more melting to go. We also have an interesting storm system to watch this weekend. Betsy, we'll send it over to you to look at that.
Yeah, that storm system right now is down in Texas, and it's going to start to sweep up to the northeast. And I know you're probably going, oh, wait a minute. This is where that whole snow mess was when it started. This is going to be a little bit different. We have a different atmospheric setup. This one is expected to cruise up the east side of the Appalachian Mountains, not the west side. That's a big difference. So this will eventually become a nor'easter as the storm system continues to move eastward. The interesting part of all of this is for us is that as the storm begins to strengthen, we're going to find a developing northerly wind. That's probably going to be activating Lake Erie. And we're going to end up with a little bit of a rain-snow mix on Friday with some snow showers that then linger into the day on Saturday. But look at the snow that they're lining up in New England. They're going to end up getting what we had over the last couple of days. They get their system as they go through Saturday into Sunday, and it really is probably going to be very windy for them as well. National Designer hour-by-hour forecast is going to be another beautiful day tomorrow. Keep in mind, in the morning, it will be very cold, as Matt mentioned. Anything that is wet right now has the potential to freeze up if it stays untreated. So when you step out the door, watch your step. 40s by afternoon, which means the melt continues, and we're going to see warm temperatures right on through the day on Friday with the rain-snow mix moving in. The rest of your Ken Ganley Kia forecast has upper 30s for us for Saturday with some flurries remaining, mostly cloudy on Sunday, and then we're right back into the 40s by the middle part of next week. Russ?
Watch your step. Good advice in general, Betsy Kling. There is plenty more still ahead. Next, the pandemic's toll on our kids as we dig deeper into the holiday season. 3 easy ways to make a modified season just as bright.
And later, the voice of the Rockefeller Center tree hails from Northeast Ohio. So what exactly does that mean? And also his favorite part of the festivities. Next.
It is a magical time of the year that we're getting into, but it's not that way for everyone.
This year, it could be especially hard for kids, and the numbers back that up.
In fact, 2/3 of parents in a recent survey said they worry about their children's mental health during the pandemic. Pediatric psychologists have some advice for parents. They say families should have honest conversations about how traditions may change this year and encourage kids to talk about their feelings. Also, get creative. Perhaps with family game nights, some baking, or start a new tradition.
Speaking of the holiday, the 5-day shopping holiday from Thanksgiving through this past Monday saw fewer shoppers than last year, about 3 million fewer shoppers, actually. According to the National Retail Federation, spending on gifts is down to about $50 less on average than last year. The slower sales are at least in part because holiday shopping has been spread out starting back in October.
And with just 23 days until Christmas, crazy. Deadlines for shipping those gifts in time for the big day are going to creep up fast. These are the deadlines for the major carriers. For UPS and FedEx Ground, it is December 15th. For first class with the Postal Service, December 18th. And best advice for you, do not wait until the last minute. Up next, Christmas tree Twitter account. Meet the man behind @30RockTree and his Cleveland connection. Next.
Before we go, tonight the tree in Rockefeller Center will light up for the holidays, but did you know the tree takes to Twitter to tweet out some pretty funny stuff?
Yeah, just today it tweeted, "I'm must-see TV tonight." Since NBC is carrying the lighting ceremony live starting at 8, Matt Hayes is actually the man behind the tweets, and he's originally from Olmsted Falls, and he truly is having a lot of fun with this account.
I also love every year when the tree is actually going up. I have the tree sing the theme from the Jeffersons, moving on up to the east side of Midtown.
Matt started this account 10 years ago and has even engaged Al Roker. He and the tree love to, quote, needle each other. You can follow the tree at 30RockTree on Twitter and watch the lighting ceremony. That's coming up right here on Channel 3. Again, it starts at 8 o'clock. Hey, thanks for being with us for this special edition of Front Row. Laura and Russ, thanks for coming along.
It was fun. We're back at 11 after the Rockettes Holiday Special.
Lots of fun. We're going to make like a tree and leave here. Name that movie. The ceremony in 30 minutes. We'll see you back here at 11. Have a great night.